Hi everyone and welcome to our Fragile X Live.
Now? Help you? Okay. You wanna do it? Okay. Ready?
This is typically what Emmett's toothbrushing routine looks like.
Okay, let's do the bottom. Ready? Bottom, let's do the bottom. Bottom teeth. Oh, you know, those are tricky. Ready? Bottom teeth. Bottom. Let's do the bottom. Wanna try? Okay, give it a shot. Try it. Okay. Okay, ready? Let's try. Okay, let's do the top again. I know, it feels good, huh? Okay, ready? Bottom. Ready? Okay, all done? Let me see. Come on. Oh, your teeth are looking good, dude. Oh, great job. Okay, let's get those bottom teeth. Okay.
So I wanted to hop on in and show you guys the different kinds of toothbrushes that we've tried with Emmett and what steps we kind of took to get him to his toothbrushing routine that he has now. So when we first started, we didn't even start with a toothbrush. We started with a Nook brush. It's this little brush that looks like this. Show you guys. So what this does, it desensitizes his mouth because he was very sensitive to things going inside his mouth, and also he was sensitive to food textures. He's still sensitive to soft food textures, but this helped with allowing for the chewy to go in his mouth. I don't know if you guys seen that he wears a chewy neck, like a chewy thing shaped like a pea. And that's for when he gets sensory overloaded, he could chew on it instead of biting his hand or biting me or biting anyone. So this helped with that too. And this helped tremendously with allowing the toothbrush inside his mouth. So we would just kind of swivel it around his mouth, all around and around throughout the day. And it totally worked. Our occupational therapist from early intervention, she was a lovely lady. She gave me this and it was a lifesaver. So we would use this throughout the years, and we are finally able to put a toothbrush in his mouth, and we are finally able to kind of brush his teeth a little bit better. So if you guys want to try the Nook brush, you guys can definitely try. It desensitizes their mouth and it helps tremendously build on, getting them used to a toothbrush. So we use this first, and then we moved on to your typical toothbrush, which it didn't work so well because he would bite it. As soon as you would put it in his mouth, he would bite this part, and then you couldn't really move it anywhere. So it didn't really work out. So we had to find a different alternative. So the dentist recommended, your typical toothbrush. So she recommended this because she said it would be easier to brush his teeth because you could just turn it on, things like that. But Emmett has sensory processing disorder and he does not tolerate noises like these. I mean, he'll tolerate the noise of a vacuum, but he would not tolerate the noise of this toothbrush or any toothbrush per se. Especially, he did not tolerate the fact that it moves like that and going in his mouth. He is completely terrified of this, and we tried it so many times. We tried it throughout the years, and he always hated it. Even caused him not to want to brush his teeth. So we finally, after I think 8 months of trying, we would just not turn it on, and we would just try to brush his teeth without turning it on, and he was still terrified of it because my daughter uses the same one, and and he would hear it, so he knew that this thing could turn on any time, and he was scared of it. So, and he gets sensory overloaded with these kinds of noises, so I totally understand. So we switched over to one of these, and this was pretty awesome. I would say it's a 3-sided toothbrush, and the dentist also recommended this one after I told her what happened with the other one. I told her my son hates it. You know, he doesn't tolerate the noise. He is scared of the noise. You know, it hurts his ears. And you can tell because he would cover his ears and, you know, he would close his mouth and he was scared of it. So we didn't want to torture him with that. So she recommended a 3-sided toothbrush, and I got some of them off Amazon. And we've been using them, and they are a huge lifesaver. Emmett likes to help and brush his own teeth, and I brush his teeth with it, and it keeps them nice and clean. Emmett has been cavity free for the past 4.5 years. He's going almost on 5 years, hopefully no cavities. So this definitely works. And before that, we would brush his teeth, like, kind of, it took 2 people to brush his teeth. So me and dad would hold him down, one of them would hold him down, the other one would brush his teeth, and it was just torture. So now we are to the point where, you know, he can do this, but it was just a long step process of trying new things. So you always have to be open-minded and try new things, and definitely give this 3-sided toothbrush a try. Even with my daughter, when I know she's been brushing her teeth on her own, she's 8 years old, I go in, and she has one of these too, and I go in and I brush them every once in a while, like every 2 to 3 days. I go in and I brush it with one of these to make sure that she is doing it correctly. And this one helps a lot more too, because Emmett cannot floss, and I told the dentist, you know, I can't floss him. There's no freaking way that I'm ever going to be able to floss him. We are going to work on it, but I don't guarantee that we will ever get to that point yet. So give me something, you know, that might work. So she told me this, and it's awesome. Definitely try it. So it wraps around his tooth, and it brushes every single side of his tooth at the same time. So you don't have to do it like so many times. So here you go. And you can buy it off Amazon, of course. And we use fluoride-free toothpaste. We use Burt's Bees for kids. And we have the one with fluoride for my daughter, and we use the fluoride-free for Emmett because he doesn't know how to spit out. So that is something that we are working on. We have not accomplished yet, so we are going to go with this until he can accomplish that. We are working with him on getting him to spit out. He has low muscle tone all over his mouth, so it makes it hard for him to do things like blowing, spitting out. He's still working on it. He can now blow a little bit every so often, and hopefully one day we'll be able to spit out. So in the meantime, we are doing fluoride free, just because the fluoride is not safe for him if he was to swallow it. So yeah, those are just my tips, I guess, and recommendations in your toothbrushing routine. Thanks.